Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Cervena Barva Press reading series. And today we have some wonderful readers, and I'm very excited to bring them here. Marguerite Guzman Bouvard, she's our first reader today. She has taught poetry workshops at Regis College and the Radcliffe Institute. She was also a resident poet at the University of Maryland. Her first book, Journeys Over Water, won the Quarterly Review of Literature Award. Her eighth book, The Unpredictability of Light, won the 2010 MassBook Award for poetry. One of her poems has won a prize from Writing in a Woman's Voice, and two of her poems and books have been featured in the Blue Mesa Press. She has received grants for her poetry from Puffin and Danforth Foundation, and she has a new book coming out in a few weeks called Shades of Meaning. And I give you Marguerite.
Thank you. My first poem is called The Trees Linguistics. What we lose in our quickening pace in this world is the ability to see and to reflect. When my computer turned itself off on my desk, I saw a stunning and unexpected view of the maple tree just outside my window on the empty screen, drawing me towards it in a new way, as if it were speaking to me in its quiet majesty, no longer carrying the sun's trajectory, but its own stillness and profundity, its inner language, so that we who are continually focused on our cell phones and social media have forgotten to think about time in a different way, the weather of events around the world, and how they impacted so many people in different ways, our own history, and what is occurring in crowded cities. If we slow down to reflect, we will move through centuries like the trees. We will keep learning about our different connections, the complexity, and often the hidden beauty of our lives. My next poem is a different kind of music, and I refer to languages here. When I met my husband, he didn't know I was fluent in French. A different kind of music. In Maui, a tree was listening to the music of the wind, bent to its rhythm, as its longest branch carved over the harp of the ocean again and again, until the notes were written on the sky's open pages. This is how the deepest music that is written, that transforms us, meeting your lover for the first time when he was walking behind you on the sidewalk, commenting on your legs in a language you were not supposed to understand, that turned into a new world where, like trees, we hold memories in our tangled roots, the music of our offspring's voices, the murmuring of wings, leaves, and heartbeats. And since I'm a grandmother, I wrote about one of my grandchildren. Sophia, it must have been the sun that gilded your curls, that opened your smile like a flower and sent its rays spinning through your laughter. It must have been the sky that took refuge in your eyes, their weather, now gray and pensive, now joyous as a summer afternoon in Provence. It must have been a memory from before you were even a thought that lives in your tiny hands as they carefully fit one shape into another with precision. It must have been written somewhere that your secret kingdom will one day bear sheltering groves. And this one is a short one. Honoring the hidden work. Praise the spider's work of weaving, the monarch butterflies crisscrossing the frigid air over continents, and the rockworm laying foundations for the cathedrals of coral reefs. Praise the loom that is never stilled, the persistence and strength of fragility. Well, I don't know if any of you know Vincent Van Gogh, but he's my favorite artist. There are many kinds of currents, not just in the eddies of water, but in Vincent Van Gogh's painting, where the corners of the world come alive, the undulating mountains, the swirl of grass, tree bark, and branches, the cloudy sky, where the fishing boats on the beach in Camargue are not stilled. Everything is pulsating with its own rhythm, like the ones that are hidden, such as tree roots that intertwine with fungus and the mycelium of mushrooms, and that what is multi-layered beneath the soil is also the different meanings we see in our daily lives, which are revealed by the strong voices, colors, and shapes a solitary painter brings us. The next one is called, and tell me when to stop, and I have stopped. Messages. Light moves like water, rushing in whorls, flickering messages from the wind, the tallest trees, which is unpredictable, yet always with us. Like the man who crosses the border into Mexico with food and dignity bags for the undocumented immigrants, with the humble gifts of soap and toothbrushes, a love of the marginalized and mistreated, flickering messages which are unpredictable, yet always with us, despite our blindness to the tallest trees and the winds of unseen kindness. The next one is about a priest, and his name is Reverend Daniel Aye. A retired Catholic priest presides over a church in Brussels that has no pews, no votive candles, nor worshipers, and the statues of saints are draped with posters on social justice. The marble floor is crowded with mattresses and sleeping bags for undocumented immigrants. For him, the core of Christianity is helping the marginalized, and he has devoted his life to them, who are also his housemates from Morocco, Rwanda, Guinea, and Senegal. He has offended the more conservative bishops that wanted to turn the church into a museum, and also populist politicians. But he created a singular path that reflects a different view of reality, that we are all one, and that in his words, God is too great to lock him up in one religion. Religions are always fighting each other. Three more. The same and not the same. Everything is different, but the same. The trees we tended over for years are now soaring like steeples, maples, lindens, the white pines, another world that has its own voices, like the wind that has changed as it keeps forming its own trajectory, and has so many stories. There are languages all around us that speak of the fire of becoming, the swirling deeps, telling us that earth and sky encompass us, that it vibrates inside us, awakening us to its splendors and the fierce pattern of survival, that everything changes, heavy branches tumble, sand becomes rock, oceans rise and fall, but there is always a beginning. And my last two ones, and then if you have any questions. And this is a true story. And I mentioned reign and R-E-I-G-N as in reigning, not as in a queen. The Holy Family. The Messiah is supposed to have only one meaning, but one can be many. When there is an illumination in a dark corner of the world, and Messiah is not age-related, like the 7-year-old Messiah and his older sister, Reign, which does not mean queen, but giving everything she has to love and protect. When he was only 4 years old and unable to walk because of a rare disease, she played with him, took tender care of him, and never left his side. Nor is the Messiah white as the Western world portrays him, but the color of the night sky with the radiant stars of his parents, Toka, who spoke of blessings when Rain gave him her bone marrow for a transplant, and Will, who would visit his hospital room and sing to him. At home, Toka sang, "This is the day the Lord made." And they both gave graciously from the little they had, an envelope of money when a friend lost his job, Burger King coupons when another person was laid off. They got bags of clothes, for giving was their joy. But just when Messiah began to be able to walk, he showed symptoms of the coronavirus and died in his hospital bed. But Messiah and Reign remain intertwined because they were only a few years old on this earth. They understood the meaning of eternity. And this is my last one. The Abbey of Synong was built in 1148 in the valley beneath the Garonne in the south of France for monks who wanted to spend their life in prayer and contemplation. It is made of eloquent stone with arches upon arches at different levels, so that even the high windows are arches, just stone, no embellishments to distract us in our search for grace, and is a place where we enter the mystery of the creation, where the past, present, and future are intertwined, and we enter ourselves, finding an immensity to ponder in our brief time on this earth. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marguerite. That was wonderful. And everyone, we got Margot in, so yay.
Oh, that's good news.
Yes, it is. I'm very happy. I'm going to let her settle in a little bit because that was kind of stressful. So I'm going to have Ellen read next. And Ellen Devlin is the author of a chapbook called Rita and has a forthcoming chapbook, Heavenly Bodies at the Met, and they're both by Cervena Barva Press. Her poems have appeared in the Cortland Review, Limehawk Review, Pank, the Ohio Review, Sauzier, and the Women's Studies Quarterly Review, and many other journals. In 2021, she was shortlisted for the Bridport Prize in the UK for the poem, The Christening. And I give you Ellen.
Now I'm unmuted. Thank you. I want to say thank you first to Gloria for inviting me to read with this wonderful community you have here. And it's a pleasure to read with both Margot and Marguerite, and we all got here and it's great. So I'm going to read a couple from Rita, a couple of short poems. Rita on Desire. Do you remember growing a body with an electrical charge that rivaled lightning? How you curved and curled into another's hollows and left the park grass singed beneath you, all hiss and steam, light shining from the spaces between your teeth. Now I hardly remember the sound of desire. It's a pillowed hammer, soft without insistence. Rita remembers the social worker. I was 5 and my mother was gone. A woman with a brown coat and a hat with a big feather was talking to me. Her words, tiny cold meteors, had no heat or velocity. I was looking at her shoes, mine. Our 4 shoes looked at a single black suede high heel lying on its side on the bottom landing. I saw this. Night, 3 men pulling my mother down the stairs. She was arching her back into a corner, feet planted, quiet. Sounded like a small animal, a rabbit or a bird, falling ahead of her down the stairs. I felt a ghost child move out from me. She looked just like me, and she looked too at our mother's shoe. Okay. I'm going to read a couple from Heavenly Bodies at the Met, forthcoming. These were responses to pieces in that exhibition at the Metropolitan Museum of Art a couple of years ago. Crown of Thorns, Headpiece, Sean Lean, designer and silversmith. Shining so we remember storms cleave houses and branches twist into barbs. Uprooted trees, floodwater want to fill our eyes, our bowels, unstring our bones. Shining so we are pierced and harmed by accident. Made for adornment, these thorns file down and angle away from the wearer's head. And sometimes we will do anything to each other. And sometimes we twist the thorns away from the tender skin of the other. This is Ensemble by Jean-Paul Gaultier. Joan of Arc. I kept walking past you, the sign that read Joan of Arc, avoiding your young face, light hair resting on a pillow, your body slight, unbearable. The white chemise did not reach your bare feet, a satin corset, its garter tabs lying on your thin legs, one sleeve of plate armor. Statuary vestment for Madonna del Grazia, designed by the poor nuns, the Benedictine nuns of Lecce. As if you were not enough, carved from butter wood, set high above your altar in the church named for you. You were dressed by nuns in a blue silk mantle, a skyscape of embroidered stars, your ivory silk gown flowering, vines of gold, a silver crown with cherubs placed on your head. Our Lady of Graces, how sure you are of favor, how sure of your favor petitioners must have become, lighting the red votive candles placed before you, how willing to leave their coins in the metal box. There is so much hope in the dilation of the human eye, when gazing at crystals and gold threads glistening. They fall inside us, making us believe what is beautiful will help us, that we can't stop the abundance at its borders. Okay. So this is from a new collection. And the name of this one is Bluestone Slate Sidewalks. Tidal waves sleep in the slate, slices of ancient eddies, gray blue slabs, dandelions, and bindweed growing between. I remember hearing heavy-headed lilacs, silent bees, stiletto heels tap hollow in the night of children sleeping, overheard words falling from windows. And this is also an ekphrastic piece. This is Henri Matisse, Sword Swallower. It's his head, white, thrown back until it lies on his shoulders, the fold of flesh at the base of his skull like a baby's. His black sty R startled. 3 blades pushed into his pulled wide mouth, his tongue and throat, heart and stomach do not belong to him. It's as if every agent of his body that would sing, speak softly to a lover, even eat turnips and salted fish is taken from him. Unspeakable orange borders his head, makes him carnival. In the smile of the onlooker, who smells of fear and boiled cabbage. This from the series are little portraits of actually workers who are probably not working at these things anymore. Many of them are. This is called Elevator Operator. Her name was Maeve, and when she pulled the accordion gate open, men hid camels behind their backs. High-shouldered passengers pulled in their arms and legs. Slow metal car drunk staggered side to side down the shaft and stopped uneven with the floor. Maeve opened the gate. Rain-soaked wool and tarnished brass exhaled into the lobby where lilies grew up the walls. Maeve sat on the elevator stool, her ankles blooming over her white socks, blue Oxfords. No one talked. Am I doing on time? Okay, yeah. And now for something completely different. It's even, okay, this one is from the same collection. It's called Heart with Bacon, Broth, and Kale. Gets out the cleaver and chopping block, runs his tongue across his teeth. Once he tried to reshape them into ovals with a file. You can do that, but it'll hurt for a long time. Hydrangeas look in the window and nod. He's wearing a ridiculous red fisherman's hat and has wolves tattooed on both hands. Yes, he's not done eating because he paws through the ice lumps for another one and finds a heart too big to be a chicken and too small to be a cow's. Quick thaw water bath and unaccustomed wonderment at its color. Recipe: first dice the heart, cutting away the tough bits. Perfect pink and pulsing fillet makes a blood moon on a plate where the knife goes in. Observations after making a doomsday book for my children. Here is the sound of light splintered lantern. Here is the abstract mountain, smoke choked, as is the song of delphinium, moan of truck tires on a bridge. Here is the no sound of an empty saucer. Here is the question in overheard, ache in never heard, jar of raspberry preserves with a spoon resting inside. Here is the taste of a penny on the tongue, electric, lingering. Here is the smooth stone in my palm, the baby weight in my arms. Here is the blue of blues, the carrier oil, blistered shingles of old houses. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. And our next reader is Margo Berdeshevsky. Her latest collection, Before the Drought, is from Glass Lyre Press. It was a finalist for the National Poetry Series. A new collection, It Is Still Beautiful to Hear the Heartbeat, is forthcoming from Salmon Poetry. Neil Said the Night, a hybrid book in halftones, is forthcoming from Sundress Publications. Her book of illustrated stories, Beautiful Soon Enough, received the Ronald Sukenick Innovative Fiction Award for Fiction Collection 2 from the University of Alabama Press. Other honors include the Robert H. Winter Award from the Poetry Society of America. Her work appears in numerous journals, including Poetry International, New Letters, Kenyon Review, and many others. And I give you Margo.
Hello, finally. Let me begin by saying I dedicate this reading in solidarity with Ukraine. I couldn't be reading tonight without saying that. Beyond my used up words, keening with the fallen, and that is not enough. Then how will I sleep or write of herons, tides torn in an angry sea's claw, stilled flesh, whitening where the wild orchid rises and withers, her tiny many mouths along a silken stalk, a chorus, all its still children call for any god to reach them. Breaths stopped, no murmurs left, and that is not enough. When I see you, my breath tears there between your bodies. If I say what I know of plenty and of empty, how will I sleep or dream of herons? Leaps cut down, curled, used on the bright, of road blood, stilled in the breeze. Be safe this day, friends. Don't curl, don't be killed, not this day, not after. There will be cold wakings when your fist will haunt all sleep, when the dun silence will leave. I mean to see you, if ever I cannot stand, this side of the newborn stream. There's no blood yet, but let our cry carry, infant in its clairvoyance call, let our knowing bleed. How can we sleep or write of the fallen? I am without skin today, your drum deeper and going deeper in. And that is not enough. There is a place where the wing tears, and there is a day when the heron stands, and there is a river for revolution, the hardest love coming in. Bring me to the river where lives begin, where our nakedness needs no skin. Bring me to where it begins and begins, nameless and coming in. At the end of the beginnings, we dress in long light, a hybrid body of stars. River where the parched heart drinks her fill. Hill where the unborn climb. In the land of afterwards, may we remember the poetry of almost, the large animals who never forget, the sand of our first imprint, its infant step. In the land of before, may the infant's first turning be toward grass, its insistence on green, the leaf, its awareness of falling, scarlet and broken but ready. In the land of our new fear, may I remember yours and the winter's remarkable determination to sleep until April. This is very new. It was just published last night. And this is the letter that could not be sent. Dear V, listen, I would have thought, it being winter right now, that drinking borscht is better for keeping the soul warm than drinking the Kool-Aid. But what do I know? I'm just a descendant of a father born in the motherland who should be turning in his grave this week. Me, his grieving daughter. Me, just a saddened woman who dreamt of peace during the first years of glasnost. Had a Muscovite lover then, who had 2 wives when I met him and wanted me for a 3rd, all together, so a troika. See how my Russian blood was trying to enjoy daring, darling, liberal possibilities? No? Not a moral enough plot? Well, I tried, joined with my once upon friends, incanted holy songs like holy monks for peace. Can we possibly not remember? We believed in peace. I wish you no luck. No angels will save your soul. They will be lost in the corpse-blackened February 2022 snow. But I will sing, alive or dead, with the rest, for peace, whether you can hear me or not, dear B. Signed, MB. Pain, after and after. Buried himself, cried like a departing wind in the palms, rattling. The quiet of no more God, and no more flesh between his fists, brother, and no more first green breath shooting up with you have tilled me, made me. The boy made man stood severed, mark on his inner eye that would be heart hereafter. God, he whispered, you, I who never killed, but pulled a root from the good brown soil, learned from you who loved blood better. He didn't believe it. Looked at his large hands that had held the little brother's throat like a tiny bird. Hands that had scraped black stones and planted and were forbidden now. No planting. He was tired, rubbed his eyes like a littler boy, knelt, used those hands to scrape a bed in the earth under the billion stars. Coming out, eyes of God, who would never lay in his bed he'd made, never slept, not now, not ever, goddamn. Here is my body, invisible on our lake, our dreamscape, the old blue heron lands. Beak of my hunger, beak of her hunger, beak of her mothering, mother me, I say. I'm her body of surrender waiting. I'm her body of hunger waiting. Her body of danger waiting under the 5 million starfall night. Mother, I cry, you promised kinder dreams. You promised sleep. Be kind, you said, before you surrendered, before you climbed the starfall. This night won't last, you said. I'm the heron, I'm the lake at peace. Our vine leads to you, you said. Your body of surrender waiting. I whisper, the blue heron will feed us. Blue dawn will delete us. Peace. Our bodies will sleep. Our danger will sleep. I will love you, you said. That was my promise before. Our lake waits. Don't cry, I said. Here is my body, I said. Sleep. The hungry beaks will feed. Even sparrows, winged ones. Our old promise is kept this night. This dangerous last, mothering us night. Kneel, said the night. I sell mirrors in the city of the blind. Kabir. Kneel, said the night, her full-paunched moon, mute as I am. Ask for words, said the night instead. Instead, a turning autumn path where the shepherd and his dog lead their X-marked flock, where morning's cry is 100 made single bleat, made soon 1,000 dry-leafed whispers, made sunrise to its lover, the breeze. The lambs and sheep are X'd for killing. Hurry their soiled white woolen bodies as one towards sun. Slaughter ahead, but not yet. And my own marked tongue, like a taut wound watch, ticks trees, ticks bodies, ticks the veiled and the beheaded, ticks presidents, ticks light, ticks stain I cannot say or bend, ticks last year's dead, ticks this year's dead. The morning's mute as a moon killed. The lambs will be meat before any plea is answered. The reddening forest can hear, urges syllables like breath to a fire, can speak to laugh, leaf, lamb, path, moss, stone. It can't. Land I mouth, hill of the dead, as if a voice I have heard of ancient bones unearthed mere roads away from here. Skeleton of sounds, poem, kneel, said the night. Kneel with me now, with the slaughtered sheep, in case there may be any reply. In solidarity. A hazel. Handprints in ancient cave art were left by women. National Geographic. If the new animal voice cries for my empty bed, hear me. If a wide red wing climbing my cotton gown stills me, hear me. If wars in blued tongues of the night-scarved crows admit what our mothers pretend to forget, will you hear me? When wild horsemen sketched beastmen, drawn by girls afraid to tell secrets to their mothers, filled caves, did you hear me? Secrets spread in menstrual reds on a cave's inner walls. Did the hills listen? Did you hear me? My bed of old bloods has slept through dreams and revenants. One sky's thickened milk fills silence. Hear me, silk-tongued as that hour ahead of our last summers leaves handprints tears the riddles open. Hear me. If the smallest hands, if the last birds, if one unborn poem spills just a little sky, we were not killed, we're born. Mother, hear me. And this last one is for W.S. Merwin, a blossom. If I'd known you when the island first scraped at my foot soles, its sheer thumbs, hungry fishes, known you when its thin stones first fell to my hands under waterfalls and the wide-winged black frigate's flight watched, if I was learning. If I knew you then, knew how to listen, it was as syllables of a road I hadn't pronounced yet, but I would, fell. It has taken houses, roads you lived beyond one noon while winter fell in your garden. You sent me on to this one, this rim of a water that knows there are islands in the long clouds, that know the herds of lost poets, their harsh songs of desire, and how it hurts not to sing them. In the silence of rooms you built with syllables and fires and vixens and nights, my steps listen to winds and the bats guiding light to your garden's wet growing, even without eyes. In such a quiet, elder, celadon roads that have no names I can learn, except the scent of hawk, a carol of orioles bows. I bow to one who has parted weeds for me, even at a distance, parted hours. Let me walk slowly, hands open behind you. For William Merwin. Thank you.
Thank you, Margo. And can we please give the readers another round of applause? What a powerful afternoon of readings.